My father's strong opposition to my love story. Love was supposed to be simple. At least, that's what I used to believe. That when you found the right person, everything would fall into place. That love, true love, would be enough to silence every doubt, every obstacle. Because my father did not believe in my love, and he made sure I knew it. I still remember the first time I told him about her. I expected surprise, maybe hesitation, but not outright rejection. No, he said, his voice firm. Final, you will not be with her. It wasn't a discussion, it was a decision. One he had made before I even had the chance to explain. Why? I asked, my heart pounding. He didn't look at me, because I said so. But that wasn't enough. Not this time. Not when it came to her. I tried to reason with him, tried to tell him how she made me feel. How she wasn't just anyone. She was the one. But he wouldn't listen. Love is not enough, he said. You are blind to the consequences. What consequences? I demanded. Ones you will understand too late. But he was wrong, because the only thing I understood was this. I wasn't going to give up on her. Not for him. Not for anyone. Even if it meant standing against the one man I had always obeyed. Because this wasn't just a fight for love. It was a fight for my future. And I wasn't backing down. I had never defied my father before. His word had always been law in my life. His approval, something I had spent years chasing. But now I was standing on the edge of something different. Something that would change everything between us. Because this time I couldn't obey. Not when it meant losing her. He watched me, his expression unreadable. You think love is enough to build a life on? He asked. Yes, I answered without hesitation. But the look in his eyes told me he thought otherwise. Then you are a fool. I clenched my fists. My heart pounding. You don't even know her. I said. How can you be so sure she isn't right for me? He exhaled sharply, shaking his head. Because I know the world better than you do. And I know that love. He paused, his voice quieter. Now is not always enough. But he was wrong. Because what I felt for her was different. It wasn't reckless. It wasn't some passing obsession. It was real. And I refused to let it go just because he couldn't see it. I love her, I said again. My voice steady, and I won't walk away. Something flickered in his eyes. Anger, maybe disappointment. But I stood my ground, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't just fighting for what I wanted. I was fighting for who I was meant to be. And no matter how strong his opposition was, I wasn't giving up. Silence stretched between us, heavy and unyielding. My father had always been a man of control, a man whose words shaped the direction of my life. But this time I refused to bend. You think you know love, he finally said. His voice calm but firm. He exhaled, shaking his head. Feelings change, love fades. What you think is forever today may be nothing but regret tomorrow. And what if it isn't? I shot back. Then prove it, he said. I frowned. What do you mean? He leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. If you truly believe in this, then show me. Show me that this is more than just emotion, more than just a passing desire. And how do I do that? By waiting. My chest tightened. Waiting. If she is the right woman for you, then time will not change that, he said simply. 1 year. I stared at him, my heart hammering. And if I still love her after that, then I will have no choice but to accept it, he said. It was a challenge, a test, but I wasn't afraid. Because if my love for her was real, time would only make it stronger. And I was ready to prove it. 1 year. 365 days. That was the price of my father's approval. The cost of proving that my love wasn't a fleeting emotion, but something real, something unshakable. I didn't hesitate. Fine, I said, my voice steady. I'll wait. But understand this. I met his gaze, unflinching. I'm not waiting to prove anything to myself. I already know how I feel. I'm waiting to prove it to you. A flicker of something crossed his face. Doubt, maybe even surprise. Then he simply nodded. Then we will see. I walked away that night feeling both victorious and uncertain, because love had never been a battle for me before. But now, it was a fight against time, against doubt, against the possibility that in a year something could change. Would she wait for me? Would she understand why I had to do this? Or would my father's test become the very thing that tore us apart? I didn't have the answers, but I had my love for her, and that I believed would be enough. Now all I had to do was wait. Waiting should have been easy, but when you love someone, when every day without them feels like something missing, waiting is its own kind of battle. She didn't take it well at first. A year, she repeated, her voice laced with disbelief. It's the only way, I told her. It's not about proving my love to myself. It's about proving it to him. Her eyes searched mine, looking for something: assurance, certainty, hope. And what if he still says no, after the year is over? I reached for her hands, holding them tightly. Then nothing will stop me from choosing you. She hesitated, then exhaled. So we wait. At first, the days passed slowly. I counted them, each one feeling like a test of patience, of endurance. We kept in touch, but there was always a distance, the space between what we had and what we were waiting for. Some days, doubt crept in. Would she grow tired of waiting? Would my father ever truly accept what I felt? Would time bring us closer or push us apart? But through it all, one thing never changed. My love for her, it remained unwavering. And no matter how long the days felt, I knew one truth: a year would pass. And when it did, I would stand before my father again, and this time I would not ask for permission. I would claim the love that was always meant to be mine. Time moved, but it didn't feel like it was moving fast enough. Every day without her was a reminder of the tests I had to endure. And every night, I asked myself the same question: will love still be waiting for me at the end of this? She tried to be strong. We spoke often, but there were moments when I could hear it in her voice. The weight of the waiting, the loneliness, the uncertainty. Are you sure about this? She asked one evening. I have never been more sure of anything, I told her. She sighed, and I knew what she was thinking. It feels like a punishment, she admitted. It's not, I promised. It's proof. It's time showing us that nothing, not even distance, can change what we have. She was silent for a moment. Then she whispered, I just don't want to lose you. Her fear was my fear. Because what if time didn't only prove our love? What if it tested it? What if we became different people by the end of this? What if after all of it, my father still refused to accept us? But I couldn't let doubt win. You won't lose me, I told her. I am yours. Today, tomorrow, and every day after. And so we continued waiting. Through the long nights, through the aching distance, through the quiet fear that neither of us spoke out loud. Because love isn't just about being together. It's about choosing each other, even when it's hard. And I would choose her 100 times over, with or without my father's blessing. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. The waiting became a rhythm, something we learned to live with even when it felt unbearable. But some nights, doubt crept in like a shadow I couldn't escape. Would love still be the same after all this time? Would she still be there at the end of it? We talked often, but there was a difference now. A hesitation in her voice, a distance that had nothing to do with miles, but with uncertainty. I'm still here, she reminded me one evening. But sometimes it feels like I'm holding on to something that's slipping through my fingers. Her words hit harder than I expected, because I felt it too. Not that my love for her had faded, but that time had started placing doubts where there used to be only certainty. I know it's hard, I told her, but we've come too far to let go now. I needed to believe that, because this wasn't just about proving something to my father anymore. It was about proving something to ourselves, that what we had was more than just passion, more than just a moment that we could endure. Even when tested, as the final months approached, I could feel the weight of it all pressing down. Soon the waiting would be over. Soon I would stand before my father again, ready to face whatever came next. But the real question was, would she still be standing there with me? The final months felt heavier than the ones before. Not because I doubted my love for her, but because I feared what time had done to us. Had it made us stronger, or had it created a distance that even love couldn't bridge? I could feel the difference in our conversations. The pauses that weren't there before, the unspoken worries that neither of us wanted to say aloud. Are we still the same? I finally asked her one night. She hesitated. I want to say yes, she admitted, but the truth is, I don't know. The words hit hard, not because I didn't expect them, but because I had been too afraid to say them myself. Do you still love me? I asked. Yes, she whispered. Then that's enough, I said. But was it? Was love enough to erase the time apart? The doubts that had crept in, the space that had grown between us? Or had this waiting changed things in ways we couldn't undo? I wanted to believe we were unshakable, that what we had was too strong to break. But deep down, I knew, time changes people, and I was about to find out if it had changed us. The final days of waiting were the hardest. Not because I doubted what I felt, but because I feared what I would find when it was over. Would she still look at me the same way? Would we still fit the way we once did? Or had time built a distance between us that even love couldn't cross? The night before I was set to see my father again, I called her. She answered, on the first ring, as if she had been waiting. Tomorrow's the day, I said quietly. I know, she whispered. A pause, a hesitation. Are you still sure? She finally asked. I have never been more sure of anything, I told her. I needed her to believe that. I needed us to believe that. What if your father still says no? She asked. Then it won't matter, I said firmly. It won't, no, I promised. Because this time I'm not asking for his permission. Silence. Then a breath of relief from her side of the call. Then I'll be waiting, she said. And in that moment I knew, no matter what happened tomorrow, I wasn't waiting anymore. I was choosing her, and nothing, not time, not distance, not even my father could take that away from me.